Let's talk about birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship now is in the middle of this huge legal battle. Why? Because yesterday President Trump was sworn in, and one of the first executive order regarding immigration that was signed was the one that actually changed the application of birthright citizenship. But before we do and talk about it a little bit further, don't forget to follow the page. Don't forget to click on the button so you won't miss any notification. My name is Annick Koloko. I am an immigration attorney, and we talk here about immigration news, immigration update, immigration law. Now, what are you guys supposed to know? We will talk about what is the birthright citizenship, what did the order say, what was the reason the state filed actually, what are the arguments, and how does that apply to you? Then what's next? Because you may be thinking, yes, okay, that's very nice, but what does that mean? What is this law? How does it apply to me? Don't worry, I will answer those questions. Now, what is birthright citizenship? But birthright citizenship means literally that anybody born in the United States, regardless of their immigrant parent status, is a U.S. citizen. That's it. This is what this is. This is actually not new. We know that it's been in existence. Why? Because it's been in existence. It's enshrined in the 14th Amendment. And you may be thinking, what is the 14th Amendment? But after the Civil War, in 1868, the 14th Amendment was actually voted into the Constitution. Why? Because after the Civil War, a lot of formerly enslaved persons found themselves without a legal status. And literally, this 14th Amendment extends the citizenship to anybody born in the United States, and that will have included, of course, these particular individuals. But now, what does the Trump administration is actually arguing? They're arguing that, yes, the 14th Amendment, even though they don't challenge the fact that it doesn't exist, and they're not asking for the amendment to be repealed, but they are challenging the application of the amendment and stating that it is not applicable to people whose parents don't have a legal status or permanent status. And let's just go to the source. What does the 14th Amendment say? This is what it says, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, comma, are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. So far, so good. The part that is naturally now subject to litigation is the part where they say subject to the jurisdiction thereof. According to the Trump administration, it means that if your parents are immigrants and they don't have a permanent status, or they are in the country illegally, it means your parents are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because they're not permanent resident, they're not here legally, therefore they're still subject to the jurisdiction of their country. That's the legal argument of the Trump administration. The legal analysts, the legal community for decades, centuries, understood this to mean what? It was actually, this part was in relation to children of diplomats. If you were a diplomat and you had a child born in the United States, under the 14th Amendment, this child will not be considered a U.S. citizen because you, as a diplomat, you were still subject to your country because you're representing your country of origin. This is what everybody agreed, right? Now, they even went further. It went further because we even have a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court have been explaining exactly what is birthright citizenship. And how do we know that? Because there was a case in 1898. Yes. There was this young man, Mr. Wong Kim Ark, who actually was born in San Francisco, traveled back to his parents' country of origin in China. When he returned to the United States, the U.S. government denied entry and saying, no, you cannot return to the U.S. because you're not a U.S. citizen under the Chinese Exclusion Act, which was one of the acts of an immigration law at the time. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and actually the Supreme Court ruled that no, that Mr. Wong was actually a U.S. citizen because his parents, even though they were not citizens, he was born in the United States to immigrant parents, meaning they have lawful status. Because don't forget, the U.S. government was signing the Chinese Exclusion Act, meaning that, okay, you cannot come in if you're actually a citizen of China. But the counter argument was like, yeah, but the parents are already here. They have lawful status and they have their child. Therefore, how does that even apply to us? This is basically what happened. But now the Trump administration is saying, yeah, maybe, yes, we don't dispute the fact that here under Mr. Wong, obviously the case was talking about lawful immigrant parents. And their question is now, what about the ones who are not lawfully in the United States? And this is exactly where we are, right? Now, where do we have, what's going on? You have, I think today, as of today, we're counting about 26 states that are filing lawsuits against, obviously the administration. Everybody was already ready for that. All the briefs were already written. We have 2 or 3 lawsuits, and it's probably going to have more. Basically, one on the West Coast that was filed in Seattle. One was filed here in Massachusetts. Our state of New York was in there. Yeah, we are listed in there, obviously. And basically, what is the argument? The argument, because you have to show that you have standing. You just don't go and file a lawsuit just for the sake of it. You have to tell the court, why are you here? And they file actually this lawsuit on behalf of people who will be injured, right? It is actually a legal definition if they say you're injured by a decision or by this executive order. And then basically the argument, we say that the people, the infant that will be born after February 19, yes, because let's just remember the executive order state that 30 days from the signature of the executive order, every child who is born after that date, here we're talking about February 19, 2025, will not be considered a U.S. citizen. And the executive order is actually directing the agency, such as the passport agency, not to issue passport to any child born after February 19, 2025. That's what you have the state arguing. Yeah, but what about this infant? They will be stripped of their U.S. citizenship. They will lose their most basic rights, for example, health, right? Or and they will be living under the threat of deportation. This is the injury, right? This is the injury. They will lose eligibility for a lot of federal benefit programs. For example, having a social security number, to have the right to work lawfully. See, this is the injury that the state are actually putting forward, right? And then obviously stating also that the president cannot take the citizen constitutional right just like that, just through an executive order. No, meaning those are the main arguments that they're actually putting forward, right? And then obviously we'll see, and at the end of the lawsuit, they're asking for what is called declarative and injunctive relief. What does that mean? Simple. They want the court to say, yes, these are the obligations of both parties, right? Even if they don't render a decision. And finally, when they're asking for an injunctive relief, is basically asking the judge, the court, to stop the application of this executive order until there is a decision on the matter. Meaning, what does that mean? To conclude, it means that for those of you who are probably in the situation where, like, how is it going to apply to me? First and foremost, if you are born, or if you have a child born before February 19, 2025, this is not applicable to you, okay? The law is not retroactive. It doesn't go back in the past, no. But now, what about those of you who are expecting a child after February 19, 2025? If the court, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen, grant the injunction, it's not going to be applicable. The current law, the 14th Amendment, continue to apply, right? You will just move forward until there is a decision on the matter. But you can expect it's not over until it's over. It's not going to stop here at the federal level. It will go all the way to the Court of Appeal because they file on different court, and then it will end up probably before the Supreme Court, where we will have an explanation, a ruling, whether, you know, obviously the 14th Amendment applies to anyone without any distinction as to the status of their parents. But I hope that it gives you a little bit of idea what's at stake, and then, you know, what you can expect. Don't forget to follow this page. My name is Annick Koloko. Thank you so much for following us, and see you next time. Bye.